positive or negative thinking doesn't lead to non-duality, because positive or negative thinking cannot affect who you truly are. It's something that happens in the body, mind, and I do believe now, after working with people, that if the body-mind has lots of suffering, so if it's in lots of negativity, then there's a lot of attention on thinking and trying to work it out and in the brain. So if you're experiencing lots of pain, which is produced by very negative thinking, you're trying your best not to feel the pain that's in your body, so therefore your focus is solely on your thoughts, and then your thoughts become more and more rapid. And your thoughts will always be time-based, so you're desperately trying to run in time. And I do notice from working with people that that has to settle to an extent to hear another possibility. Like if it's really dense, then all the attention's there. And then there can be this relaxing. So, so I think it does have to relax a bit. And somebody can become 3 even if they've got negative thinking, but it's going to be a more pleasurable body if you've got more positive outlook. But it does need to relax. When it's really suffering, then your focus is so much on time that this cannot be heard. So you've got this mind that thinks, you've got this personal attention that can put the attention on the mind, on the thinking mind, and on the body. And all of that's happening inside the body, we will say. I mean, you can break that down even more, but let's just say for now it's all happening inside the body. But there is another factor to it all, because that body and that movement of attention isn't actually experiencing itself. It's being experienced. So if a thought pops up now, you'll notice that there's something that's conscious of it. If a feeling arises, there is something that's conscious of it. And the movement of attention, inside or outside, there is something that's conscious of it. We think that we are alive, and that thinking and that personal awareness and the consciousness are one thing, and they're inside the body, and the I am. And that's who you are, and it's like a bundle of stuff. But you might begin to see that actually the consciousness is conscious of all of that happening. So your thinking appears, your feelings appear, and there's something that's conscious of that. And that consciousness isn't inside the body. It doesn't belong to you, to who you think you are. So you think that you're somebody that's moving in time. You're somebody that arrived in this room and that's going to leave this room and that's had a life, was born on a certain day and dies on a sort of day, and you believe that person's alive. But that person is like a film playing on a screen. It's dead. It's not alive. It's not conscious. There is something that is conscious of that. Now that thinking and those feelings appear inside the body. So your thinking appears inside the body. But your world is seen is a projection of that body. It's hard to say because so everything you see is the way your brain interprets it. So if somebody else's eyes will interpret this room differently, will interpret my words differently. So everything you see is an interpretation of that body, mind, that brain, and the feeling system. So by the thinking and the feeling system. So even though I say it's happening inside your body, it's kind of like a hologram because your brain is actually projecting the world. So the world is kind of inside the body. Like your world is kind of formulated inside your brain and then sort of projected out there. But all of that isn't conscious. The person doesn't contain the consciousness. There is something that's conscious of that. So that person that you think yourself to be and you think yourself to be alive isn't actually alive. It's a film running. It's being experienced. It's not an experiencer. So you, who you believe yourself to be, isn't alive. It's being experienced. So now when you hear my voice, the brain is interpreting my voice. So the brain is interpreting what I say, dissecting what I say, liking it or disliking it. But the brain isn't conscious of what I say. So the brain isn't alive. The brain is like a film. The brain is like a filter on this. Then there's something prior to the brain which is conscious. And that consciousness isn't a thing. And this is so crazy and hard to explain, but that consciousness is also all things. So it's everywhere, it is all things. Like consciousness is invisible, it's not in a place, but at first we feel like it's behind our head or behind everything. But actually it's everywhere. Isn't that amazing? And we're always so confused because we think we're going to get enlightened. So we think like if we're more positive or we get rid of our conditioning, we'll become enlightened. Often that stuff has to relax to an extent, so you're balanced, or just there's not so much attention on you or contraction. But it's not you that gets enlightened because you're not alive. You're not conscious. You, the story of you isn't conscious. There is something being conscious of the story of you. Isn't that cool? And this consciousness also has a friend, a best friend, and it's called the I am. So that sense of existence is the same as consciousness. You think you exist inside the body, and that existence isn't here. But that I am, before I am Lisa, or I am Rachel, I am Henry, is actually everything and everywhere, and is prior to anything. It's so cool. So everything you look at now is yourself as consciousness, and everything is conscious, but no one thing is conscious. So Lisa isn't conscious, you are not conscious, because there's no one thing that's conscious, but consciousness is all things. I know it most probably sounds super confusing. And consciousness is what remains. And that sense of I am is what always is. You and who you think you are and what you own and what you like and what you don't like comes and goes in this. And the person is looking everywhere for this. This is why the person gets so tied up, because this is freedom. Remembering this is freedom. It's love. And the person, when it becomes totally cut off from who it truly is, when it really believes it's this limited entity and it's moving in time, it looks everywhere in time for love, and it will never find it. It's that which is looking. It's that which is experiencing this. It's that which is always present. It's not found in something. It's not found in your holiday, in your work, in your lover. It doesn't mean don't do all those things. All those things are what we do as human, but they're not going to give you what you're looking for. What you're truly looking for is presence. And some people, when there's already a tendency towards a more depressive, negative outlook, some people say, well, life is pointless and meaningless, so why should I do anything? And that's totally not what's being said here. As this begins to be remembered, then everything is meaningful, because everything is an expression of that divine energy. So going on the holiday, sitting, listening to this, sitting on the toilet, riding your bike, all of it is meaningful, because that is what life is expressing. It's just that before you were looking for love in all things, And the remembering of this reminds you that love is all things and that you can't own love. Yeah. Hello, Ici. Ici in French means there. Ici. 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 You there or here? It can mean here as well. So Ici, her name's Khaleesi, but I call her Ici. So Ici is neither there or here. Or is she here or there? Where are you? Where are you, Ici?